In this video, we're going to go over the Access Guide Project 2-1. Now before we start, I will say that it's a little bit easier to have a printed version of the instructions in front of you. Do you have to have this? No. But is it helpful? Yes, because you can check off items as you complete them. So whether you have an electronic version, you're looking at it on the screen, or you have a printed version, let's go over everything step by step. Step 1, open up the database start file. Well, we've already done that, and that's what you see right here. Step 2, it says the file will be renamed automatically to include your name. Change the project file name if directed to do so by your instructor. Now for this step, you really don't have to do anything unless your instructor tells you to change the name of the file that's already been pre-populated for you. Step 3, enable content in the security warning. If you see a yellow bar across the top of the screen, what you need to do is enable the content button right up here. Click it, double click it, and you will get to your database so you can begin. Step 4, click the Table Design button. Towards the upper left-hand portion of your screen, you'll see a bunch of tabs. One of them is the Create tab. Click on it once, then you'll see various groupings. Towards the left-hand side, you'll see the Tables grouping. Then you simply need to click the Table Design button, and now you'll be ready to go for Step 5. Step 5, add new fields into the table and select Field Properties. Now before we finish with Step 5 here, please note that there are a bunch of steps A through Y. So there's a lot of steps there. It's really important that you go slowly. Speed is not your friend. Go slowly, make sure you capitalize where it says to capitalize and get the spellings right. Get everything right and just take your time with this step. So let's begin with Step 5A. Type branch with a capital B in the field name property box in the first row. And then hit the tab key, and then I'll move it over to the right. 5B, select the short text data type. Now on my computer, it already defaults to short text, but if it doesn't, make sure that you select short text. I'm going to press the tab key once again. And now we are ready to do Step 5C. And I'm going to type in unique branch name. You can see that the U is capitalized here. Once again, it's important to go very slowly. Now on this step, once you've typed it in, you'll see that Step 5D has you make this particular area a primary key. So we need to select the primary key button. That's Step 5D. Head up to the Table Tools Design tab, and then you'll see a button called Primary Key. Select it. I'm just going to move around a little bit. I just select it off the Design tab button, and now this is the primary key. To toggle back down here where we can continue typing, we need to hit the tab button. And then now we're ready to add the remaining fields into the table. And this is Step 5F, which I'm doing right now. So Step 5G, I'm going to type in address. Hit the tab button. It's already on short text. Type in street address of the branch. The tab button, type in city. Short text, branch, city. Double check your work, make sure it's correct. And so far, the data type is short text for all of these. Make sure you get the capitalization right on everything that you type. I toggle over using the tab button. Now on this one, they want the date time. Select it. So I use a little drop down menu here and I select date time. Not a problem. Then I tab over, type in date, the branch first opened. And that completes step 5L. 5M. Click the Save button to save the table as branches. Going to hit this button in the upper left-handmost portion of the screen. You can also hit Control S to do this, but I'm just used to manually clicking this little disk button in the upper left-hand portion of the screen. And I type in branches. I click OK. And it's a good idea to periodically save your table so you do not lose your work. Trust me, you will lose your work if you do not save occasionally. And that completes step 5M. Step 5N. Click the row selector to select the branch field. So I click up here, and you can see now I can make my edits and changes down here. Step 5O, type 30 in the field size property box. You can see that it's set on 255, but we want to make sure that that's 30. And that's step 5O. And then we also have to make sure, this is step 5P, that we need to set the required property to yes. In this case, it's already on yes, but if it wasn't, there's a drop-down box and I could select yes. Step 5Q, going to select the row selector. I could click out there or right there. It gets the row selector ready to, it gets the fields ready to be changed. So now I'm going to change the remaining field properties in this table using the values in the table. So let's go over them step by step. Address. We want to change the field size to 40. And make sure it's required, so yes. I click there, click the drop down, select yes. And that completes step 5S. Step 5T, click on city. It wants a value of 20. And it also wants it to be required. That completes step 5T. 5U, let's do the state. Only needs to be 2 wide. That's the size. This is also yes. We're almost done here, folks. Going to click on zip. Oh, with the state, one last thing before we go down to zip. Good catch. We need to set the default value. We need to type in CA. And then that completes step 5U. Once again, it's very important to go over very slowly as you go through this so you don't make any mistakes. Next, let's click on zip. Change this to 9. And this is required as well. 5W phone, typical 10 digits wide, and then that's also required, and I'm going very slowly to make sure that I don't make any mistakes here. Hopefully I do not. And then 5X, date opened. This is where we have to select the format, which you'll see right here. There's a drop down, and we want to make sure that that's medium date, and you can see how the medium date is spelled out. Select medium date, and then that is also required. Lastly, we're going to select the save button to save all of our hard work. And that completes step 5. Step 6, create an input mask for the zip field. 6A, click to select the zip field. And now we can work with the field properties down here. B, click the property box for the input mask property. And you can see it's down here. You can click anywhere in here. Then over on the right hand side, we need to launch this, the wizard, the input mask wizard. So this is step 6C. I click this. It may take a few seconds for it to come up. And as I go through here, I am checking off every single step so I do not miss any steps. And it says step 6D, select the zip code input mask. I select that. I click the next button. Then I click it one more time. And now we're down here to step 6G, select the without the symbols in the mask like this. Most likely it'll be already selected for you, but if it is not, simply make sure this is selected. Click next, finish, and then be sure to save your table. Always save your hard work. And that completes step 6. Step 7. Now step 7 is going to be very similar to step 6. Create an input mask for the phone field. So the first thing we need to do is select the phone field. And that's step 7A. Then we need to click the property box for the input mask property down here. Then we need to click the build button to open up the wizard. It's over on the right hand side. And it should be already selected. The phone number should be selected by default, but if it isn't, make sure the phone number is selected. Click next. Hit the next button again. And then once again, make sure it's selected the without the symbols in the mask like this. Click next, finish, and be sure to save your work. And that completes step 7. Step 8, enter records into the branches table. Step 8A, we need to change to the datasheet view of the table. There's a couple different ways to do this. One way is to make sure you're on the design tab. Then you can click the datasheet view here. The other way is to right click onto the branches tab and then select datasheet view. I'm already on here, but there's more than one way to do things in this program. So those are two options of changing the view. We move on to step 8B. We need to enter the following records into the branches table. Notice that when we type in the date, it'll automatically convert it to the medium date format. You'll see that as we go along. So I'm just going to take my time. This will take a few minutes, and I'm going to enter this data in, trying not to make any errors in my typing. So I'm going to go nice and slow, and you should do the same thing. Make sure I've selected that first field. I will toggle over using the Tab key, just like we've done in the past. State is already in there for us. Typing in the zip, going slowly, trying not to make any mistakes. You don't have to put any dashes. We've already set that up with the mask, so we don't have to do that. Quick double check of the numbers. Now there's a couple different ways to get the date in there. We can click the little calendar icon. I'm going to type it in. Once I type it in, tab down to the next row, and I will continue filling out this information. And you can see that once I've tabbed off, that it changes to the medium date format right over here. I'm doing a quick check to see if I made any mistakes. Hopefully I did not. Although the system's great because it'll let you know if you made any mistakes. And the last step, which is step 8F, is to save and close your table. And just one last quick note about step 8F. You have to make sure that you close the table. There's a little X in the far right hand portion of your screen. Select it and you will officially close it. Make sure you do that. Step 9. We need to modify the department field in the employees table to use the combo box. So step 9A says to open up the employees table in design view. There's a few different ways to do this. A quick way is to head over here. We can see employees, and if I right click, I can click design view, and now the design view opens up for us. If you know another way to open up to get the design field, that's fine, but this is the design view, but this is how I do it. Okay, next we need to select the department field. and I look down here and I see the department field, and that's step 9B. 9C, click the property box for the data type property. You can see that there's a drop down right here. At the very bottom it says lookup wizard. I'm going to select that, and that completes step 9C. Step 9D, select I will type in the values that I want radio button. On my screen it doesn't default to that, so I have to select it. Step 9E, click next. 9F, click the first cell underneath call 1. 9G, type in administration. Take your time here. Be sure to get the capitalization correct. Make sure you spell it correctly. Going to press the down arrow, and I will type in health and benefits. Hit the down arrow again. Going to type in insurance sales. And I'm glad I took typing in high school because it makes it so much easier not to have to look at the keys. Next, click property and casualty. And I can see that I made a slight spelling error. Glad that I caught that now. Going to click the next button. And step 9M, I'm going to click Limit to List checkbox. Click Finish. And then lastly, I'm going to click the Save button. Step 10. We need to verify the existence of a foreign key and create a one-to-many relationship between the branches and employees table. So the first thing that I'm going to do is close this current table. And then step 10A, I need to make sure that both tables are open in the design view. So I'm going to right click on the branches table, click design view, then right click on the employees table and click design view. So I'm going to look here, I'm going to look around at the data, make sure that everything looks good, and everything does look good because we did everything before, so I'm not going to do anything else here, but I am going to work on step 10B. Edit the description property of the branch field in the employees table to read the following. So let's make sure we're on the employees table. And then I'm in the branch field, and it's already typed in branch assigned to. So then I'm going to put a space, dash, a space, capital M, must match a branch in the branches table. Take a quick look to make sure that there are no spelling errors. Then step 10C, going to save and close. Any tables that I may have opened. And that completes step 10C. Step 10D, click the relationships button in the database tools tab. So I look up towards the top, I click on the database tools tab. There's a button called relationships. That's step 10D. and I select it. And as I'm going through here, I'm checking off everything that I do so I do not get lost. It says select the branches table and click the add button, and you'll see that it adds it over here. I'm going to do the same with step 10F. Employees, click the add button. Now they're both over there. Then I click the close button. It says drag the branch field from the branches table on top of the branch field in the employees table. Pretty simple to do. Holding down my left mouse click button, I hold it down and I drag it and I put it over top of the employees branch. And it says to verify that the names displayed are correct. You can see that it says branch and branch. If it does not, you'll have to redo this step. And you can use the drop down arrows. This is how you can change it quickly, but everything's looking pretty good here. So that's step 10I. Click the Enforce Referential Integrity button. Then select Cascade Update Related Fields button. And I'm checking those off. That's J and K, completed. I'm going to leave, this is step L, I'm going to leave this one unchecked. Cascade Delete Related Records, I'm leaving that. I'm not selecting anything there. Next, I'm clicking Create. I'm saving it. Always save your stuff. And then select the Close button. And that completes step 10. Step 11. Enter the following record into the employees table to test the new drop-down list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click the employees table. I'm going to head down to the bottom and I'm going to type in exactly what I see on my instructions. Using the tab button to move over. Then I'm going to save and close the table. Save and close. Step 13. Open up the branches table. I just double clicked on it, and then it wants to adjust the width of the field so that the entire field contents show. There's a couple different ways you can do this. Probably the easiest is just hover in between. I can see that the address and maybe the city are covered up. So I hover in between until I get this vertical bar and I just drag it open. Needs to be dragged open a little bit more. Let me make sure that the city is good there. And that looks good to me. Next, 13B, I'm going to click on the plus sign to the left of the branch field. And you should see 11 employees. 1, 2, 3. I can see that there's 11. So that looks good. And then I'm simply just going to click the minus sign to close the related records. And that completes step 13. Step 14. Preview the data records. So I'm going to head up to the File tab, select the Print button, Print Preview. This is how it'll look. It wants us to show this in landscape. So up towards the top, right next to portrait, there's landscape. I select landscape. You can see that it's wide, not tall, so that's landscape. Then I'm going to close the print preview button. That's step 14D. Step 15, going to save, close the branches table. Step 16, this is where I'm going to save the document, save this database, I should say. And then step 17, I'm going to upload it into SimNet, and I'm going to submit it for grading. So that concludes this particular assignment. If you took your time, you should do very well in this particular assignment. Thank you.